Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. In this video, we're going to take a look at both charts. Today, we can see that the market is yesterday it was actually going pretty well. Today, there is a bit of profit taking going on. Market is selling off a little bit, nothing too crazy. Bitcoin pretty much moving sideways, and Cardano a small drop, 3.6% for the crypto market. That is nothing too substantial and in line with what many other cryptos currently are doing. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin chart for everybody who's new here. We can see here the overall chart from 2016, 2017. My view is that Bitcoin is currently developing here a corrective pattern, which means that after it had its back then all-time high in April, it has moved in three corrective waves. The first one was a wave A to the downside, the second one a wave B to the upside, where a new all-time high was made, but it's part of a so-called ABC correction, where typically, and that's what Bitcoin has done in the past, that is why I see this happen again. After then you get your wave C, and the wave C will end below the wave A, and the wave A was ending around 29k, 28.7k. That was back in June 21, and we are still waiting for this lower low on the Bitcoin chart. A lot of altcoins have already made this lower low. Yeah, there are only a few exceptions that haven't yet, and I'm still waiting for these to do it. But Bitcoin, is making it interesting at the moment. Bear in mind, there is a lot of uncertainty currently in the market because of geopolitics and everything. It is really, really difficult in the world at the moment, and not only that, also from a chart point of view, because it is, there's just a lot of uncertainty, right? There's fear in the market, and people are just waiting what's going to happen, right? And I think as long as the situation is a bit unclear, we might just see here a bit of sideways movement, and that is exactly what we see. Before we dive deeper into the Bitcoin chart, I just want to show you the Fear and Greed Index. As you might know, especially if you've been following my channel, there are two basic emotions in the financial markets that determines where prices move. There is fear and greed, and typically historically, when the chart here, that is the Bitcoin price, but when you saw the price here in red, that is when the market is basically in fear, and when the price is green, the market is in a greed phase. Yeah, so you've got a neutral phase as well, which is yellow. But typically, historically, it would have been a good time, or it was a good time to buy when the market was in a fearful mode, and the good time to sell when the market was in a greedy mode. Okay, and currently we are in a fearful mode. And I am dollar cost averaging in, right? Lately at 39k roughly, or 39.8. Oops, I just didn't. And we currently are here at 26. So not extreme fear yet, but in the last few weeks we were also in extreme fear at some point. And I think March 2020 took us down to a level of 9. And at the moment we are 26. So there is further room for drops, yeah. And that is in line with my primary expectation that we are going to see here our target area between 20 and 28.7k. Yeah, so 28.7 because this was the low back in June, and 20k is the minimum of that target area because it is the top of the previous bull market. Okay, and if we just draw the Fibonacci levels of the beginning of this wave 1 here, we can see that there is an ideal level where the price could get back to, and that is here the 0.618 Fib level at 27.5k. This is where I would primarily want the price to land. If we break that, it could get down to 20k, and if that gets lost, it could even go down to the 0.786 Fib level, 17.5k. I mean, to be fair, that 0.786 Fib level is what many altcoins have reached, but my view is that Bitcoin won't need to reach it necessarily because there is less volatility in the Bitcoin price compared to altcoins, so it doesn't need to get there, right? From my point of view, the 61.8% Fib level at 27.5k for Bitcoin is sufficient. And if we think this further, if Bitcoin really went down below 20k, I think many altcoins would just get crushed. So let's hope that's not necessarily going to take place. So if we zoom into the chart, and I know it is frustrating, but at the moment there is only sideways movement in the crypto market, or in Bitcoin, mainly in Bitcoin. So we talked about here this, that Bitcoin is still here in a wave 4. This has not been invalidated yet. So we had various wave 4s here. So we came down in this higher degree wave 3. That was 24th of January, made a low. After that, I told you that we're going to get higher, move higher in a higher degree wave 4 after the wave 3 low here, move up in a wave 4. Now that happened, we hit the target area for that wave 4, did not quite max it out, and then we saw that bearish cross coming on the MACD, on the daily MACD, that suggested that prices could be dropping, and that is exactly what happened. Now what we could have seen is here the wave 3 low within that higher degree wave 5, because a higher degree wave 5 typically would consist now of 5 waves as well, and we could really be here within a wave 4 within the higher degree wave 5. Okay, so what kind of confirms that for me is that in a wave 4 you often see sideways movement, and this is exactly what we're seeing. And all I can do at the moment is really repeat what I've said before, because there is just sideways movement, and sometimes you just have to wait and watch, because if there is no clear direction, the market just needs to decide first where it's going next, and some things just can't be just can't be read in the charts, especially these sort of micro movements here. What I expect primarily is that after this wave 4, we are going to go down in a final wave 5. That is still what I expect primarily. That is what I have to expect. That is what I expect until we, as long as we remain under 41.5K, because above 41.5K, we have to look at this chart differently. But even above 41.5K, the immediate sell-off would not be invalidated. There is still a potential that just the wave 4 top wasn't in yet, and this will all be an extension of the wave 4. And only if we break above 46.5K, so very clear lines here that you can watch out for. Only if we break up above 46.5K, then we are going to unlock higher prices, and this wave 4 is then not really possible any longer. Until we are below 46.5K, I expect the price also still to land in this target area, but it will then take longer, okay? Because this orange 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would then be invalidated if we break above 41.5K. So these are the two levels I'm watching out for at the moment, 41.5K and 46.5K. Bitcoin as always makes it interesting, but if there is too much sideways movement, it also gets boring to watch. I of course still keep you updated. What is noteworthy is that the Bitcoin price sort of is fighting here with this support line of this descending broadening wedge. I mean, if I zoom in and just move that yellow target area that was actually, by the way, perfectly reached for that wave 4, that makes me confident that we are in a wave 4, because it really perfectly adheres here to these Fibonacci levels of this wave 4. And see how long we've now been moving within these two Fib levels. So I think that was absolute on spot here. But yeah, anyway, what we talked about is this triangle here, and that we would see a breakout of the triangle, only a small triangle, so only a small breakout. But we saw here a little bit of a decision, but in the end, it's only then extending its sideways movement. What is interesting, it's sort of dancing on this support line of this descending broadening wedge. Has not quite reached the target area of that wedge, which would be at 40.5K. Yeah, we've been a little bit lower with that wick, but still close enough. And now just dancing on top of this one, which just means it can't really move higher. You know, it's not currently, it doesn't get the volume, it doesn't get the buyer step in that would support a move higher. And other than that, all we can do, I mean, you can look at the micro movements here on the 1 hour MACD, but this is really just for the micro movements. And even here, when in a period of sideways movement, these indicators don't tell you a lot, because they cross a lot and they don't tell you much, right? So especially on the 1 hour chart where not really a lot is happening, you can't really use them in a period of sideways movement, okay? So 4 hour chart has more meaning, yeah, also in a period of sideways movement, because, you know, it just takes more candles into account, yeah? So where, for example, on the 1 hour chart, you take, I think, here on the RSI, I think it's 14 candles. Now, the last 14 candles here are purely in the sideways movement, whereas in the 4-hour chart, you will probably have some that came from down here. So here on the 4-hour chart, what we can see that we have a bearish MACD cross coming that could push the price a little bit lower with a sell signal. Here on the 4-hour chart, these signals, they do have some effect. Yeah, certainly. When we had this bearish cross here on the 17th of February, you can see that after that, we had quite a bit of a sell-off going on. So that was definitely a good signal here, and that could be coming here at some point today or tomorrow. And on the daily chart, however, it shows us a different picture. That's why it's so difficult here in this sideways movement. You get conflicting messages here of these indicators at the moment. At the moment, it's really, really tricky, and we need to wait what the market is doing. As I said, a lot of uncertainty in the market, and all I can do is give you the key levels to watch out for, from which other scenarios will get more likely, and I did that already. But what is coming here on the daily chart is a bullish crossover. So if the bearish crossover works out on the 4-hour chart, it could potentially invalidate here this bullish cross. So if the bearish crossover on the 4-hour chart is working out and you see a price drop, then it could potentially not get to the daily bullish crossover here, yeah, and it might actually turn down again because the 4-hour one is faster, right? But the daily is more meaningful, but we don't have that bullish crossover yet. If you get a bullish crossover here, that could then in the next few days push the price certainly higher. It did that here previously, 29th of January. You saw quite a bit of a price move. Then we had another bearish crossover here, 16th, 17th of Feb, and also it pushed the price lower. And these decisions are often made here lately on the daily chart. Yeah, we talked about it back here when we were up here, that we have a bearish crossover coming, and that the decision for where the price is going has probably been made on with the indicators here on the daily chart. And also here we then saw a price drop with the daily MACD. Yeah, that's my view on Bitcoin here today. Of course, I'll keep you updated if we have any major changes. And if we look at ADA, I mentioned that the correction could really be over soon. Yes, we still have here those lower target levels in 55 and 30 cents. And I think we are going to see at least one of them. But also here we can see that Cardano is obviously much further ahead in the correction than Bitcoin. It has already moved below the previous low wave A. Bitcoin hasn't done it. Yeah, Bitcoin hasn't done it. However, the timing obviously was bad for Cardano because it started the correction earlier, and Bitcoin affects the whole market. So as Cardano started the correction earlier and Bitcoin is still in the correction at the moment and will probably be for the next few weeks, that can obviously stop Cardano or hinder Cardano from moving up here, and will just extend its correction. That's just how it is. But that means that in the next bull run, Cardano should really move up a lot because the indicators are so low. Yeah, I mean, if we take a look on the weekly chart for Cardano, the RSI, we are nearly here in oversold territory. There's not much more room. There is a bit more room for further price drops. That's what I think. That's therefore we can get to these target areas around 55 and 30 cents. But we can already see that on the weekly, you see the selling momentum decrease, and we might get a turnaround here at some point. Still a bit too early to talk about that. On the 4-day chart here lately, we have tried to get a bullish crossover on the 4-day MACD. That was stopped. Yeah, so we are heading further south, but you are really close to the 0 line on the 4-day chart, and the RSI also nearly oversold, even lower now than it was here on the 4th of December when we had the initial drop, that crash, the flash crash of Bitcoin. So really low, those indicators. And even we had here an oversold Cardano on the daily chart as well on the 20th of February. And we might now get a bullish crossover, which could be another buy signal. And bear in mind that Cardano is here in a descending wedge. Yeah, it did that before. It broke out the last time, which doesn't mean that it couldn't extend once more or something. But I think we are here for Cardano in the last meters of the correction. Yes, Bitcoin, of course, if it drops once more, it will drag Cardano down probably once more as well. But the lower Cardano gets in this current move, the lower the indicators will be, and the higher the price should come in the next run to the upside. Yeah, that is typically what you get, like a spring that will get released. Yeah, and the further it is compressed, the more the jump will be. And my price expectation for Cardano still stands. After this correction, a price of at least $4.50. And if we get to a range of around 50 to or 55 to 30 cents, you get your 10x Cardano. Yeah, and that could play out very quickly if you take a look at how fast that move from July into August went. It was within a few weeks. Cardano made a new all-time high, right? And yeah, these moves don't take too long. This took a bit longer here from November 2020 all the way into May 21. But all of this could still play out. Yeah, new all-time highs could still play out in 2022. All right, that's my view here on Bitcoin and Cardano. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content and want more content, check out the channel membership. You can do that here on YouTube or on my website. The links for that you can find in the video description, and then you can get access to the Telegram live chat, the Discord server with a lot of additional content, and a weekly live stream. We've got one live stream later today, and happens every week. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.